Hi friends, this is Lily and I've got another cooking demonstration. So put on your aprons because once you put on your apron you're a real cook. So today what we're going to do is I'm going to use Butler soy curls to make a fake barbecue beef, barbecue pork type of thing. It'll have like the texture, but it obviously won't be an animal. So what we're going to do first is I have these soy curls and I had some hard ones. Right now I have them soaking in water and they were dry. So this is 100% soybean. They take the bean and they send it through a press. Maybe multiple beans, and they send it through a press and then they dry it. So there's no additives and no things you don't want. It's pure legume. Now some people are a little worried about soy, and you know there's good information out there letting us know that soy is okay. Soy is good. Matter of fact, they eat a lot of soy in Japan, for example, and they don't have breast cancer. Which a lot of people will say, oh, you can't eat the soy because there's some estrogenic compounds in there. But those estrogenic compounds actually work for you, not against you, which is typical that you can tell in Japan, where they eat a lot of it. So one of the other ingredients I'm going to use is jackfruit, green jackfruit, not ripe jackfruit. The ripe jackfruit is sweet. You would eat it like a fruit. This is green jackfruit, meaning it's young. And there's different brands you can buy. This one came in brine. You can get some in water. And the different brands have different, they cut it a little bit differently depending on the brands. Come up close and let me show you the fibers in here, which is why when you chop it up, it almost has a texture of some meat. Do you see that? So what we're going to do is we're going to put it in the food processor and shred it. And so normally I just make it with the soy curls, but I'm going to add jackfruit this time just to make it a little different. So what I've got to do is I need to saute some onions. So I'm going to turn my pan on. I'm going to get it nice and hot because when you put your onions in there, you want them to be hot because then you stir them. You use a little bit of water as a saute. So while this pan is heating up, let's go ahead and take these soy curls, which have been soaking in water, and let's go ahead and drain them. Okay, we're going to drain them. And I'm even going to go so far as to squeeze out the liquid. Oops. Oh, let's wash that one off. All right. So we're going to squeeze out the liquid because we don't need them to have a lot of liquid in them. These are now rehydrated. Before they were kind of hard. Well, they were hard. Not kind of. They were. So now they're not wet anymore. These Butler soy curls are just wonderful. You can use them in all kinds of recipes. You can use them in your chicken and dumplings, only they would be like the chicken. So basically, soy is what you make tofu with, and you know tofu doesn't really have much of a flavor. It absorbs the flavor of whatever sauce or whatever it's cooked with. And I guess you could say the same thing with these soy curls. So you can use these soy curls to do anything you want. Now I'm wanting this pan to be really hot. And one of the things I'm going to do to test how hot it is I'm going to put a little bit of water in here. Oh, do you see all those bubbles? You see how the bubbles roll across the pan? That means it's ready. All right, so now I'm going to dump in my onions. All right. And then you kind of got to stay on top of this. See, they're not sticking. They are not sticking. So this here is going to bring out the sugars in your onions, this heat. And as we go on, the bottom of the pan will start to brown, and that is because of the sugars that have come out of the onions. So technically it's kind of like caramelizing them, which I think you would call them. Caramelizing, I'm not sure, I guess it has to do with the color. But when they're caramelized, they're a little bit sweeter as well. So this is obviously a hot pan. And again, you don't see them sticking, do you? You would think that if you didn't use any oils, there's no oil in here or anything, you would think if you didn't use oil it would stick. But as you can see, it's not sticking. Now once the sugars start coming out and start browning the bottom of the pan and the onion, then that sugar is going to make it a little sticky. So we're almost there. I can see that the pan is starting to brown a little bit. But again, they're not sticking and there's no oil in there, no water. I guess if you left them sitting in one spot, they might burn, but that's why I keep moving them around. They're smelling good. Smelling very good. Okay, you see I don't know if you can see, but there is some brown starting to, see that brown on the bottom of the pan? Alright, that's good, that's what we're looking for. We want some brown on the bottom of the pan. Making these onions nice and sweet. Okay. And again, they're not sticking. And there's no oil. Okay. So now, what you can do at this point, because you can tell there's sugars on the bottom of the pan. These onions are a little sweet. So now you can just take a drop of water and look what happens to the bottom of the pan. You see all the brown stuff come up? All that brown sugar came up into the onions? Yeah. And if you want to, you can do it again. I see a little spot here that's a little bit brown. Let's go ahead and get all that nice juice up there. Okay, I think we're good. I'm going to turn it off. And we're going to go to the next step. And the next step is pretty easy. We are going to take our soy curls and we're going to take them over to the food processor. Okay, we're going to put them in the food processor. We're not going to put them all in at one time. Maybe do half. we're going to process it till it makes shreds. I don't want to process it till it's like a fine ground. I'm just going to do it till there's shreds. So it's just a minute or two. All right, come look at this. Can you see this? It's much more ground. There's a few big pieces in there, but you know, when you make a sandwich, a barbecue sandwich, you're always going to have a few big pieces, right? So I'm going to dump this out. And I'm going to do the next batch. Okay. Okay. That's looking like maybe we could do it a little bit more. Okay. That looks good. Alrighty, now let's put our jackfruit in here. So we got our jackfruit. Oh, and there still seems to be some liquid in there. All right, we're going to process this till it's shredded. Let's see what we got here. Oh, we still have some big pieces in there. But it's looking really good. A little bit more. I'm going to pulse it here, see if that's. I think I'll take out some of these big pieces because I don't want the small pieces to get ground up too fine. So really there's only a couple big pieces, which is pretty good. All right, well, let's go ahead and attach that right in here. Add that to our all right. Do you think we can get these two little pieces chopped up really quickly? Oh, there they go. They did what we wanted them to do. All right. Alrighty. Put that in there. All right. We've got, now we're going to come over here, we're going to put it in the pan with the onions. Look at those beautiful onions. All right. We're going to just dump it in there. All right, easy peasy. So mix it all up. Now add your favorite barbecue sauce, and that's it. Now you can make your own from scratch, or if you have a favorite. The thing I noticed though is you're going to want to get a barbecue sauce that has no high fructose corn syrup. If you go and buy onto the barbecue sauce aisle and you read the ingredients, I was surprised at how many of them had high fructose corn syrup as the first ingredient, meaning that's what there's the most of. So they must take their high fructose corn syrup and then they add everything else to it. This, I got at Costco, and unfortunately we went back to get more and they didn't have it. So darn it, that's what happens at Costco sometimes. This one is just tomato puree, and it's got everything there's nothing weird in here. It's organic. You know, it's got some sugar, some vinegar, molasses, salt, smoke flavor, cornstarch, garlic powder, onion powder, ground red peppers, xanthan gum, which is a thickener, and spices, and it's organic. So I I got this one at Smith's, and this one, first ingredients, vine ripened crushed tomatoes. And it's got some cider vinegar and some cornstarch and white vinegar and salt and onion and lemon juice, spices, garlic powder. It does have caramel color, which some people are really have a problem with colors. And hickory smoke. So, I'm going to just dump this in. And I know it's going to take all of this. All right, and then it's going to be okay if I put a little bit of water in here, because a little bit of water will make it not quite so thick. It'll be okay. All right, that way we get all of it. Now, this is a nice glass jar. I like to save my glass jars because I make syrups and stuff and put them in there. All right, come over here. Come look at this. As you can see, we probably need some more barbecue sauce. So let's go ahead and add this one. So it takes kind of a lot. I think I'm going to add some more. Make it nice and juicy and red. Now, when I was born and raised in Michigan, so we didn't have pulled pork sandwiches like they do down south. And my husband's father and stepmom were down south. And when we went to visit them, they took us to this place where they had barbecue sandwiches. I think it was barbecue pork probably. And they topped their sandwich with coleslaw. I had never heard of such a thing. But I went with the flow and ate it, and it was delicious, I thought. So I think what I'm going to do now is the barbecue's ready to go. I just have to add it onto some bread. Boom. Or we love eating it on top of a baked potato. We like eating it in a salad. You can do all kinds of things with it, not just a sandwich. All right, so now let's go over here and let's make our coleslaw. So now the coleslaw is going to have red cabbage. It's going to have white cabbage. And it's going to have some carrots. All right. Now, I'm going to grab another. By the way, this is my most favorite tool. My favorite tool. I love these things. They act like spoons. They clean out the side of the bowl and get everything. All right, so that looks like a good coleslaw, doesn't it? But we need a sauce now. So let's look at a sauce. So the sauce I'm going to use is tahini. I'm not going to use animal product like mayonnaise. And veganese is just oil and something. So if you ask me, veganese isn't any more healthy. So I'm going to use tahini. And all tahini is sesame seeds that have been ground into a butter. Like you take peanuts and you grind them into peanut butter. You take almonds and you grind them into almond butter. You take sesame seeds and you grind them into sesame seed butter, which is also called tahini. The only ingredients in this brand is sesame seeds. That's it, and that's good. So the recipe, I'm going to put in a 1/4 cup of tahini. Now, not all brands flow like this. And I don't know why, because other brands will say 100% sesame seeds, but you have to scoop it out like peanut butter. This brand has no problem just flowing out. So I'm going to put that 1/4 cup. It's a 1/4 cup of tahini in there. and a 1/4 cup of water, which I've already measured. We're going to mix that up. Come a little closer and maybe, so it's just, now this is where the trick comes in because I'm not measuring. I'm going to put in some Dijon, and I'm going to put in some apple cider vinegar, Dijon, maple syrup, and then salt and pepper, I suppose. Suppose we can add salt and pepper. All right. I try not to use salt, so if I do use it, it's very little. It's not slathered all over the place. All right. So I don't know what the measurements are. So I'm going to, you know, after you've cooked for a while, you kind of know what you should do. So I'm just going to put in I'm going to start with 1/2 teaspoon of vinegar because right now it's pretty earthy, a little umami-ish, but sometimes you want another layer of flavor, so I'm going to add the acid. So whenever you make something and it's just not right, add an acid like vinegar or lemon juice, and that will usually bring your flavor right up. Now, the mustard, I'm going to use a teaspoon of that. All right. And again, I'm kind of guessing. I'm basing it on my previous experience with making stuff. And then maple syrup. Although I am not opposed to testing it. Let's see where we're at right now. Oh, well, I like anything with tahini. All right. So it is a little different with tahini. Uh-oh, I didn't measure it. That's not helpful to you. So obviously, we've got the sweet from the maple syrup. We've got the acid, which, based on what I tasted, oh, wow. I'm going to put in a little bit more, put in another 1/2 teaspoon of the apple cider vinegar. That's it. So I'm going to guess with this, I probably put in at least a tablespoon. All right. Let's taste it. That is really good. So the Dijon, when you add mustard, gives it a little different flavor profile. And you got the sweet, you got the tahini flavor. Yeah, this is really good. I don't even think we need salt and pepper if you ask me. So now I'm going to pour this right here. I'm going to mix it up. And this will go on top of our barbecue sandwich. And you know what? I didn't measure the cabbage. So if you decide to do this and you have too much, you throw it in there like I just did, and you have too much cabbage, well, you could just make another batch of this and put it in. Or if you didn't have enough cabbage, you don't have to throw it all in. But this looks like it's about right. So it's creamy. Get a close-up of it. It's creamy. And it would probably taste best if it's going to sit for a while, which I am going to serve this for dinner tonight. But it tastes good now. So now, let's go ahead and make a sandwich. And let's see how this looks. So I have a whole wheat bun here. Let's cut it in half. All right. Now let's go on over and scoop up some of our barbecue here. Let's put on a spoonful of our coleslaw. And this is it. You want to get a close-up of that, honey? So we'll go ahead and put our lid on, and there you go. Okay, that is it. If you have any questions, you can give me a call. Everything was pretty simple, and happy cooking, and don't forget to wear your apron because then you're a real cook and your food will turn out great. Thanks. Bye-bye.